Hi everyone, I'm Chef Leroy and welcome to my cozy kitchen. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I certainly am. The weather here in Minnesota is starting to warm up. We got out of that big cold snap, so it's just fantastic. The only weird thing is we barely have any snow. All right, well, past the middle of January. What do you go figure. Anyway, today's video will be all about polenta. And I'm doing a dish with polenta today, and this is more of like a polenta mash. Okay, this is Bob's Red Mill polenta. It's a cornmeal. I like this product a lot. I'm also using Swanson chicken stock in there and a little bit of fresh parsley, and we also have Parmesan. So I'll give you the recipe. So it's about a tablespoon. Well, actually, I use 2 tablespoons of olive oil, which seems like a lot, but the polenta really likes to have a little bit more oil in it. So I used 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I used about 1/4 of a yellow onion. I sauteed that off. I added some stock to it. Okay, so what I added to that stock, or to that onion and oil, is I added 4 cups of chicken stock and 2 cups of milk. And I was basically following the recipe on the package. Now, also, I added later on, I had to add another cup of water to it. But you'll see all this in the video as I go along. I've got about a 1/2 cup of fresh parsley that will be added to the polenta toward the end, so it stays nice and fresh in there. And again, I've got a Parmigiano Reggiano that is going in there. That's 1 cup of Parmesan. So the video is all about making the polenta nice and creamy like a mashed potato. That's the whole goal here. Also, I'm serving it with some quinoa meatballs I use with ground beef. Really fantastic. I made a tomato sauce. All this whole meal will be put together, and I'll have pictures at the end of the video. So again, thanks for watching my videos, guys. I really appreciate it. Let's get to that pan and show you what's going on with the polenta. All right, today we are doing some polenta. I want to just show you this quick. So I've got about 2 tablespoons of oil in this pan. Okay, and I've got about 1/4 of a yellow onion. Now these are sweet Vidalia onions. So I'm just sauteing the onion a little bit. I'm not doing garlic in this. I could, but I'm going to make a creamy polenta. Okay, so I've got my polenta right here. This is 2 cups of polenta. Let me show you what the bag looks like here. So this is Bob's Red Mill Yellow Corn Polenta. Okay, this stuff is great. I love it. I use it quite often. All right, so now what the directions ask for 2 cups, basically 6 cups of water. Well, I'm not going to do just water. I'm going to do chicken stock and milk to make it more of a creamy style. So I've got 4 cups of chicken stock and 2 cups of milk. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add that stock to the pan first. Okay, just like so. Now, one thing I do with polenta, I have a different step. I learned this from somebody before. I do not throw my polenta into boiling liquid. It clumps up too quick. There's another method to use, which is using more of a room temperature or lukewarm liquid, okay, which that is right now. But of course, the thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shut off my stove, and I'm going to add 2 cups of milk. Now, they do have directions on the bag. I don't follow it exactly what they call for, but it's pretty close. Because they actually ask for more milk. They almost ask for like double the amount of milk. So, polenta's here. Liquid's here. Everything's ready. So I'm going to go ahead and add that polenta to the liquid here. Okay, I've got my whisk here. Going to go ahead and add my polenta and whisk that in, just like that. Okay, now chicken stock from Swanson. The stock is actually very lightly seasoned, so I'm going to add some salt. Probably not more than a teaspoon, but I got my little salt mill here that I use. This is artisan salt, so put that, a little bit of that in there, and we're going to put some black pepper. And I've got my cool sur la table crank mill that I like. These things are awesome. Put a few cranks in there. Boom, just like that. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and turn on our stove. I'm going to put it on a medium heat. Now, all clad pans heat up pretty quick on the stove, so you shouldn't have any real issues with that. But the main thing is that you continue to stir it as you're letting your polenta heat up. It'll get nice and thick. And what I like is really nice creamy polenta. So that's why I do it this way. Now, you can do it the way they say by adding the polenta to the boiling water, but I'm telling you, you're gonna lose your mind because it gets really lumpy quick, and it's a pain in the neck to get the lumps out. So I'd like to do it this way. Just gradually bring it up to the temperature and get it nice and thick and just keep on stirring it. I think that, for me, is the best method. There you go. All right, I'll show you what it looks like in a little bit here. So right now I've got it on a medium temperature. It's starting to come up to a simmer. Trust me, if you do it this way, you're going to be very pleased. I've done polenta many times, and this new method I've been doing for, well, I've been doing it for quite a long time, but it's not really new to me, but maybe it might be new to you that you're just first watching this for the first time. Okay, I'm back to my pan. So according to the directions, if you're following this method using milk, or you're doing a cheese type of polenta, it does say it takes about 30 minutes to cook. Generally, in their other directions, if you're just using straight up water, it only takes a few minutes. But they have a covered method too, where you cover it up and let it sit for a few minutes. But you can see if it, you can see on camera there, it's starting to turn. You can see that cornmeal kind of turning the sauce a different color. I can start seeing it be a little bit more orangey looking color. Now I just want to throw this out to you as well, that I am going to put Parmesan in mine. So I've got a cup of grated Parmesan, or I should say shredded Parm, sorry. And this is from Costco, Parmigiano Reggiano. Okay, look at that, aged 24 months. Love it. So that's what I'm putting in there to really top this thing off. Now this turns out, the way I'm doing it, turns out like a mashed potato, and they hold pretty easily. I would say that if they do start to, as you're holding them, which I'll probably throw a cover on top of this once they're pretty close to done, because we're not eating right now. We're usually, like I do all my meals, I stage everything for a little bit later application. So what you can do is just cover them up, keep the temperature on warm on your stove, and if they get a little too thick, just either add a little more milk or add a little more water. It's whatever one you want to add to it. Doesn't really matter that much. I'd probably just add some water. Milk is more expensive. So you can see how it's starting to turn there, a little bit orangey color. That's perfect. It's starting to cook. All right, let's let her cook here. Take that whisk out of there and let her simmer. Like I said, I got my temperature at medium temperature right now, and I'm using induction, of course. So that's one key to this, is your stove is going to be different than mine if you're not using induction. Okay, we're back at the pan. Now just make sure that you're paying attention, because I only left for about a couple minutes to throw out some garbage, and my polenta was already sticking to the bottom of the pan. So you don't want to scorch it. That would be bad. Okay, so make sure you are really careful about that. See how thick it's gotten already? That's what you want. Now what I'm doing now is I'm going to cook it so I can cook out that grit that's in it, right? Because cornmeal's gritty. I mean, this is really on the same line as cooking grits or hominy. They're all very similar to that. So this one, again, you just want to really kind of slow cook it. I almost put this up in the same category as doing a risotto. You got to be, look at that, how nice and thick it's getting already. So at this point, what I would do is I would go ahead and turn your stove down to low. Okay, low and slow. So we're going to slow it down a little bit. Again, I'm not eating anything right away, so I don't want to scorch it though either. Just want that cornmeal basically to suck all the liquid in and get nice and soft, okay? That's what we're doing. In fact, what I'll do is I'll do a little test drive here with a spoon. Sorry, I'm off camera there. And I just want to check it to see how gritty or not it is. Yeah, so it's still pretty chewy, okay? That's what you don't want. So I like to cook that grit out really good. Make it nice and smooth like blended mashed potatoes. Nice puree. Now another thing you could do, which I might just go ahead and do this, you could also add some butter to this. Now I don't have whole butter, I use margarine, but you could also use a couple tablespoons of butter in there and make it really nice and creamy and tasty. So I'll go ahead and add a little bit of that to it. But I use this one all the time, so it works just fine. And you don't have to use butter if you don't want to. But I just think it really does add a nice richness to the polenta. So you see how thick it got from the time I put it in there? Look at that. Really nice. I'm going to serve those meatballs on top here. Oh my gosh. It will be fantastic. Now, tip number one, I'll give you that when you refrigerate this, it will thicken up quite a bit, way more than potatoes. So if you're going to reheat it for the next day, you're probably going to have to add just a little bit of water to it and reheat it with, but put it in with plastic wrap on top when you microwave it, but put a little bit of liquid in with it too. Then you probably have to use a fork or a spoon to smooth it out again. But boom, there you go. That's how it works. That's what I like. Okay, I decided to close the cover up on it to just help a little bit of steam build up in there, and that will help soften up the polenta a little bit. So I've got it down to a low temperature, and I'm just going to let it slow cook there a little bit. I didn't add the Parmesan yet to it. I haven't added anything else to it up to this point. All right, let's take a look quick here. Okay, that's what I want, some steam in there. Keep some of the moisture into the polenta. Let's give it a quick whip. And that's it right there, huh? That's looking lovely. But I don't think it's done yet. So I think it's still a little gritty. That's a lot less gritty, I'll tell you that. It's getting very close. Okay, I'm going to throw that cover back on and we will let it sit for a little while here yet. Check it in about 3 or 4 minutes here. Okay, this has been cooking for a bit, so I'm going to add a half cup more of water to it. Give that a whip. I'll slow that whip down though. So I like it to be creamy and not too thick. So now it's been sitting for a little bit. It gets nice and thickened up. So that's why do what the directions kind of call for in the beginning, or you can follow what I showed you here. And then if you want it to get to be a little bit more mashed potato-like, just add just a little bit more liquid if it gets too thick. That's the trick here, okay? In fact, I'm probably going to add one more half cup, so that's a full cup total. The reason I'm going to do that is because I'm going to add Parmesan to it as well. And that'll get it a little bit thicker even yet, okay? Now, this is not the same amount of time as the recipe, okay? The recipe says it would be done in about 30 minutes. This takes quite a bit longer. So I've probably been cooking this close to an hour. But the results are absolutely fantastic. Now you can adjust your salt and pepper level at this point too, but I'd wait until you get the parm in there because the parm is really going to help you figure that out. Let's go ahead and taste it. Oh, so much more smooth. So much more smooth. I'm going to go ahead and, I got it really on low temperature right now too, which is helping a lot. So I'm just going to go ahead and cover that back up, let it sit. Then I add the parm a little bit here. Not quite ready to eat yet, so I've got about 40 minutes before I'm going to eat. Anyway, let's. All right, so it is time to add my Parmesan. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a whip. So there's a little bit of grit, but it's so small amount. That's exactly what you want. Unless you don't mind it being really gritty. That's up to you, but I don't like it gritty. Go ahead and add the parm to it. And whisk it in. All right, let's get a taste here after whisking in that parm. Wow, that's really good. Like I said, I've got it on a really low temp. I'm going to go ahead and cover it. Just let it sit. And we are ready to serve. Again, I'll show you a picture of what everything looks like when it's finished. All right, signing off for now. All right, recap on the polenta. All right, so as I was cooking the polenta, now in the directions, it takes about 30 minutes. It did take me longer than that, but I slow it down. The main thing with the polenta for me is to use more of a room temperature liquid and then bring your polenta up to a simmer, slower. It helps the cornmeal break down more and it's more soft like a mashed potato. That's what I like from polenta. I don't like the gritty stuff. You'll have a little bit of grit, but it's not anywhere near what it would be if you actually followed the recipe. So take your time with it. Don't scorch it, keep it on low temperatures, and you're just gonna have a fantastic product. Again, I don't add a lot of salt to the actual mixture because I am using a chicken stock, so you may have to add some additional salt, but we are also using Parmesan in it too, which is salty. So make your decision on how you wanna do it. I put some pepper in mine as well. I'm also gonna finish it off with some fresh parsley, but thank you guys so much for watching my videos. Again, please subscribe if you haven't. Subscriptions are free to join. They don't cost you anything. And also they'll give you a heads up when a video is being put out there by me. What else? Please leave me comments. Any questions or anything you have. Maybe you have a different way to do polenta than I do. I don't know. But my way, I like it a lot. Polenta comes out like a really nice creamy mashed potato. That's how I like it. Also, give me a couple thumbs up if you enjoy the videos. Again, hit that like button. Boom, hit the like button. And again, you guys have a fantastic day. Chef Leroy and out. And thanks for watching my Cozy Kitchen.